I remember going to high school and kind of being known as the Christian kid, but not because I really lived it out, but just because everyone knew I went to church on Sunday. So I might go out with my friends until 3, 4 a.m. in the morning, but at 9 a.m. I was at church on Sunday morning. I was in church but not at church, so I was physically attending, but mentally I wasn't trying to hear anything. I was the guy who was just looking around on my phone, what have you. I hated school, and things at home were always challenging. Towards the end of grade 9, a gentleman from the Rotary Club came and introduced this idea of being an exchange student. I got into the program and I got accepted to go to Thailand. And so in December 2010, I left and went to Thailand for a year. And I lived in a very small little town, and I was the only black person within like a 10, 15 kilometer radius. And people knew me on the street. Like, I got stopped by people telling me, oh, you go to school with my cousin's best friend's son or something ridiculous. Because I was just the only black person in the state, in the province. And then for a couple of weeks I got to stay at a Buddhist monastery. In fact, my Thai nickname was given to me by a monk. In one of the houses I stayed with, I actually got to learn from a very devout Muslim who would take off all the times during the day to pray. And for me, because the question mark was always, I understand that there is a God. There's just no way we just came to be haphazardly. The question mark for me was, well, why is there so many religions and which one is right? There was a teacher honoring ceremony, and if you know anything about the Buddhist religion, teachers are really held in really high regard. And so we had to do this thing where we almost had to like bow down at the teacher's feet of the school. And I was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do this. And one girl in like 500-600 learners in my grade in Thailand, she stood up and said, ma'am, I can't do this because I'm a Christian. I was like, ooh, I don't know what kind of Christian you are, but I like that kind of Christian. So I was like, man, I'm also a Christian. Where do you go to church? But at the same time, funny enough, I was getting into more and more sin. And so when I got back, the first week of January was youth camp. And one of the guys on the youth camp, I was telling him I was going to study the Bible and become a disciple on my birthday. And he was like, well, what if you don't make it to your birthday? And I thought, that's a fair point. And so I started studying the Bible pretty much straight off the camp, and it took me 6 months, but on July 8th, I was baptized into Christ. 2012, that is. I started the one-year challenge in 2016, and I worked with Jacques and Laura, the campus leaders down here, and seemingly it went well, because at the end of it, they asked me to stay on and join the ministry full-time. Towards the end of August, or middle of August, towards the end of August, I sat down with Jacques, who disciples me and leads our campus ministry, and he said, hey man, we'd actually like you to go to Durban to go lead the campus ministry down there. In church, but not at church. I was the guy who was just looking around on my phone, what have you. And so now, as of the beginning of 2018, I'll be employed full-time by the Durban church.